Well, happy Sunday, DCL podcast fans. We got the whole crew here this Sunday to look back at November's news show. I guess how you did today, Christy?
I am well, Steve. How are you?
Not too bad. And Steve in Tampa, our resident. Well, I can't even say resident anymore because Christy's down there too. So how you doing today, Steve?
Yeah, she's the real local. I'm the wannabe local. I'm doing well, man.
Our Florida beat reporter out there on the on the west side of the peninsula and all the way down to Los Angeles on the Disneyland beat. We got Chris Bright.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, so I want to throw this out here before we start off with this first news story. For those of you who have listened to us in the past, you know that we all have different opinions on Disney Cruise Line and what we like and what we don't like. And some of the stuff that we do is in jest and we're making fun of each other. And that's definitely one of the things that I have a lot of fun with Chris and Christy. I'm kind of a smart aleck by nature. So Chris and I have a Donald thing that goes back and forth and everything. How you doing today, Lake? And so this first news story, there is no shade whatsoever thrown at Chris. And I know that a lot of you out there really enjoy it. And so the humor that we kind of throw back and forth at each other is just for us, really, in a lot of ways. So
such a serious dad start, if there ever was.
I know. So let's just jump into that first news story. Steve, take it away.
Okay. There will be a Pirates Rockin' Parlay party for the Disney Wish, which sets sail this summer, of course. The party is hosted by Captain Red, a descendant of the famous red-headed rogue from the Pirates of the Caribbean attraction. The party is hosted. The party will be hosted on each sailing and also feature rousing entertainment from Captain Red and her band of Buccaneers, and of course, it will also the Disney's famous fireworks at sea as well. And in the spirit of joking, you could look for Chris to be front and center for that event this summer aboard the Disney Wish for sure. Is your thing. I'm with you on that with pirate stuff, but
same. But are we getting complaints about people not liking us to make fun of each other? Because I mean, that was a real big.
I just want to make sure that everybody knows that we're making fun of each other sometimes with what we go back and forth on some of our opinions is all. So Chris,
actually, I think it's just Steve makes fun of us, Chris, because what do we make fun of him on? Nothing.
Well, I mean, it is sort of a terrible job to be an airline pilot.
Well, they go to awful places.
Yeah. You sit around and you have too much time to think is the problem going across the country. So, Chris, tell us about your thoughts about the Pirates coming back to the Disney Wish.
All right. Listen, I've been honest and said that I prefer the new fireworks show that is not a rehash of the Pirates of the Caribbean score a la 2005. But I will say that there's one aspect of the story that excites me, and that is that Red is going to be hosting. And that is obviously a lot cooler than Jack Sparrow to me, and so I'm into that. I also think in the Disney fan community, there were a lot of folks who were like, how dare they change Pirates of the Caribbean? And the auction scene is like historic. And Red, if you don't know, is the pirate who replaced the selling of human beings in the auction show as the auctioneer selling stolen goods, right? And she's iconic and I love her. And I think that'll be great. So that piece I'm excited about. What I'm less excited about is the idea that if I go on the Wish more than once, the only sort of IP fireworks show I will get is related to a pirate and not related to other IP that can be more interchangeable. So it's a mixed bag for me, I'll be honest. But anyway, I am excited about Red.
Steve, any thoughts there?
I think it's one of those things that this is more popular than we think it is. Like for people that are not like maybe listening to Disney Cruise Line podcast potentially. But you got to also remember, I think there's another component of it is like they sell merchandise that night a lot, on the boat too. So there's that whole tie-in. So I guess when they were coming up with ideas, they definitely wanted to have a night where people dress up and potentially buy stuff as well. So if it's a refresher for a lot of people that have done it so many times, because that's another thing they probably realize, like, we have fans that have been doing this for 20 years. So it's fine. Again, it's like, it's not my thing. I'm not a huge fan, but maybe I'll be open-minded. Maybe they'll change it up to be something different than what it is now.
Christy, any thoughts?
No, not a thought.
Okay.
Not a thought to be had. That's a very good point about the selling of the merchandise. I didn't really consider that.
I think we probably buy a little something for the kids almost every time. Like, those little, like, like something, some tie-in. So, and people go all out and they like it, and there's still plenty of people that do. So I don't want to hate on that fan base there. Let them enjoy it.
Well,
what would you replace it with?
I would replace it with a Disney fireworks show.
Yeah, same. Sell me some. The Magic Kingdom sells plenty of light up things every single night. They could sell Tinkerbell or Mickey Mouse his spinning head. I would be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah. You know what they really should have done for this ship? Speaking of armchair Imagineering, they should have done Fantasmic at sea. I don't know how they would do that, but that's what they should have done, because Fantasmic is an IP that is beloved by all humans who have ever been lucky enough to see it. And so that's where my head is at. I will say the funny thing about Pirates is the legit reason my sister-in-law does not want to go on a cruise ship is because she's worried about pirates, real life modern day pirates taking over cruise ships.
Awful Captain Gus from my Royal Caribbean Independence of the Seas, and I have no problem calling him out on his awfulness, did actually say, though, somebody asked in the live question if there were pirates, and he said, yes, there are still pirates at sea, which, I mean, we kind of knew, right? But yeah, so I don't know that they're in the Caribbean.
Do not tell my sister-in-law, because I am desperate to take my nephew on a cruise one day.
Well, go to the Bahamas. You'll be fine.
Okay. Well, speaking of the IP, hopefully, like on the very maritime sailings and maybe the Halloween sailings, they can mix it up like they do at Walt Disney World, where they change the fireworks up a little bit. So that could be an option as well. All right, news story number 2. Christy, take us away.
As we have all heard, the CDC has approved vaccine for kids aged 5 and older. So DCL has updated their policy for those who are getting ready to set sail. All guests 5 and older must be vaccinated before boarding a Disney cruise ship starting January 13th. So there was a period that if your cruise was, you had until December 1st. Obviously, that time has passed. If you didn't think that your child was going to be vaccinated and you were cruising at that stage, you would have heard from Disney. But now anybody going forward with a child aged 5 and up has to have their child vaccinated. Prior to January 13th, the current rule still stands. Guests younger than 12 must provide a negative COVID-19 test taken 3 days before setting sail, or they have to have had their 2 vaccine shots, which now is a possibility for these kids. And then starting January 13th, guests 5 and older must provide proof of vaccination, and guests 4 and younger will need to do the negative COVID-19 test taken 3 days prior to sailing. As with this and every other rule right now, just check out the note on Disney Cruise Line's website, the Know Before You Go page before your cruise, to make sure you are complying with the current regulations as they stand on your date of sailing.
Any questions? Any other input on that, I guess?
Nope.
Any thoughts with the COVID testing prior to getting on board the ships? Anything stand out for you guys?
I mean, 3 days is tough. Like, it's stressful to get the test results back that quickly. So that is a thought, but it is what it is.
Steve?
Yeah. We had a pretty low case count when I went back in October. So I think the lab turned around the test pretty quickly, perhaps just because there wasn't a surge. I do get concerned that we'll probably see again, another wave here, and that 3 day would get a little harder sometimes to turn around the cases. Or
you have to pay more.
To turn around the lab test. So I wonder how that is. But when I took the test, it was a little stressful, but it came back within 36 hours, honestly. So, but again, we had a very low case count at the time that we went. So, but it's stressful.
Yeah, we went when we signed up for ours. On the website, it said 2 days, and after we got done and handed him this all the stuff after Alex got done with his test, he's like, "Well, you'll get your results in 5 days," and I'm like, "5 days?
That's not gonna work.
Work." So then we went and paid for another one that was going to be a little bit more rapid. Got that within like 3 hours, and of course, we got the other one back within 2 hours. So we spent a lot of money on the COVID test, but we got on the ship, I guess. So.
Spend
All
more
right.
money on the cruise.
Exactly. All right.
Or on your airline tickets. You spend more money on your airline tickets.
Exactly. All right. On to news story number 3. I can't remember. We were talking about this in a recent podcast, and I couldn't remember exactly what the dates were, but Disney Cruise Line will soon have 2 year-round ports to sail from in Florida. Woohoo. No year-round port from California, right? Right, Chris?
With just reason.
Just
reasoning.
I don't know. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, starting in 2023, Disney Cruise Line will begin sailing out of Port Everglades, the main cruising terminal port in Fort Lauderdale. The agreement includes a 15-year lease, which can be extended out to 30 years. No ship has been officially announced yet, but as of now, Port Everglades cannot accommodate LNG ships. So, it was kind of obvious it wasn't going to be the Wish that was going to go down there. If they get the other 2 ships built right away, those would be, subject to whether they get LNG down into Port Everglades. I think the speculation, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, would be that the Dream will move there. I mean, she moves to Miami once the Wish moves into Port Canaveral. So then the Dream moves down to start sailing, I think 4 and 5 day sailings. Is that right, Christy? I know 5 for sure, but maybe as little as 4.
Yeah, there are some 4 days.
Okay, so the Dream will be moving down to Miami for 4 and 5 days. I think the speculation would be that the Dream's going to move up to Port Everglades, and then the Wonder and Magic would probably still sail out of Miami during the seasonal sailings. We'll see.
You don't think they'll just move?
Yeah, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they go to Port Everglades during seasonal?
One port. If they have a lease,
that's
leasing
true.
1 day.
Well, it didn't really specify that, but that's true. They could all go, or the 2 ships that are sailing out of there, they could both leave from Port Everglades. I don't know. We'll see what they end up doing. I think there's people still like sailing out of Miami, even though they are so close to each other.
But for people who aren't aware, these 2 ports are like 30 minutes from each other in terms of driving. So
I think like 45, right?
There's also 2 airports that go into Miami, basically. There's Fort Lauderdale and Miami, and a lot of people who fly to Miami fly into Fort Lauderdale, not to Miami anyway. I did that on my cruise. So I feel like they're almost interchangeable at this point, but Disney could surprise us. Maybe they want their fees and stuff to be spread across 2 ports.
Steve and I want Fort Lauderdale because it's just a little bit closer.
Yeah, I think Miami's kind of chaotic too.
Yeah.
It could be really, really congested and crazy. I mean, driving in Miami is crazy. So yeah, I agree. I'm all about
hello to Ryan. I got to be honest. After our last cruise, I shouldn't even say this. I've never been super excited about the Dream because it's just 3 and 4 day cruises out of Port Canaveral. And with the idea of her sailing 5 days out of Port Everglades, I'm pretty excited about that because I think she's a beautiful ship. And if you could spend more time on her, then especially coming from the West Coast and just doing a 3-day cruise, I'm pretty excited about the opportunity of going down to Port Everglades and spending 5 days on the Dream.
And a tiny plug for our Patreon. If anybody's interested, you don't have to. You still get us in your regular way. But Steve and I did like 35-minute chat talking random nothings. One of them was his comment about liking the Dream. So if you want to hear that type of stuff on our Patreon feed, it's patreon.com/DCL podcast, and you could hear more about it.
And I can't remember, was it deck 7 or deck 8 where your stateroom is, Steve, where you walk by and there's a plaque right there for the Elsa's family?
I wish, man. I don't have that. I don't have that Chris Concierge money.
I know it is the ship you sailed on the most. Okay, let's move on.
I love the Dream.
Sorry about that. Did you want to say some more?
No, I actually checked Port Everglades to Port Miami is 30 miles, about 40 to 45 minutes. It's exactly 30 miles.
Perfect. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see if they keep one of them sailing out of Miami or not as an option. All right, let's move on to story number 4. And I think we'll throw this one to our thespian down there in Los Angeles. How you doing, Chris?
Good. I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I was a theater major in undergrad.
Surprising nobody.
I do not do that anymore, but I was a theater major. So Disney Wish announced that they were doing Aladdin, and everyone was like, okay.
No love for that.
Yeah, there was literally not a single person. Actually, there were probably like 6 people who were like, yay! But most people were like, wait a minute, don't do Aladdin. We've already had Aladdin. But let's get into what they have also announced. So the Disney Wish is going to set sail with 2 additional shows on top of the refresh and rethemed Aladdin. And that's going to be from the moment she set sail, they're going to debut alongside of Aladdin, which is kind of exciting. On Embarkation Day, they're going to feature a new show led by the one and only true captain, Captain Minnie. And it's going to be called Disney Seize the Adventure. And for those of you who are wondering, seize, as in like seize and grab the thing, is spelled like seas, as in the ocean. So it's a pun there that they consulted with Steve on, and Steve provided a really nice pun for them. So Seize the Adventure. It's a musical adventure with some of your favorite friends, Captain Minnie, Goofy, and a variety of Disney heroes and princesses. Captain Minnie hands over the helm to Goofy, where he'll set course for uncharted waters. And then Goofy's going to encounter things that are going to teach him to take hard work and make a dream come true. And courage will help you go the distance. So I'm definitely seeing maybe some room for Hercules to be incorporated there. And the truth is, this is going to be a jukebox musical where they're going to have a lot of different things from different Disney IPs. And it's going to sort of be like Goofy is going on a journey to find these things. So if you've seen Disney Dreams and Disney Believe, those are jukebox musicals as well. So are the Golden Mickeys. So basically that's what this show will be. But it's new, a fresh take, and Captain Minnie is going to be making her Disney Cruise theatrical debut. So I'm obviously thrilled. They did announce a second show, and this one seems kind of cool, kind of outside the box. I don't know exactly what they're going to do with it. It's
literally
The Little Mermaid. And they're adding new orchestrations from songs from the movie. Let's not forget that the live action Little Mermaid, starring the first ever Black Ariel, is going to also have come out by this time. So I think there's going to be new music by Alan Menken there. Lin-Manuel Miranda worked on that movie. So I think they maybe pull some stuff from the live action and bring it into the ship, but they haven't confirmed that. There's going to be sort of this unexpected, playful scenic design that uses state-of-the-art video. Now, the video projections are going to be like what they use on Cinderella's Castle in the Magic Kingdom. So basically, it'll be like and also if you've seen the Beauty and the Beast on the Dream, that is also projection mapped as well. And Frozen is projection mapped. Pretty much projection mapping is the real popular thing to do right now. There's going to be contemporary interpretive dancing, choreographed by Christy, and then cutting edge puppetry to animate the fantastical sea creatures and characters. I'm obviously thrilled about both of these announcements. Let's see, Christy, what do you think?
I think for once I'll be going to a show on the first night of the cruise. So I don't know. Usually I'm tired.
That doesn't sound like you.
Not at all. And so I don't know. I'm excited. The Captain Minnie, I will not miss that. And new Ariel, new Little Mermaid. I'm in. I'm all for it. I likely will not go to the Aladdin because that's too many shows for me. But
a lot of shows on one cruise. When you mix in a variety show that they will undoubtedly have as well. What about you, Stevie?
Yeah, I think it's good. It's kind of, when you were saying that, it made me think it's funny, even though these are separate teams, separate departments, but when they're planning the Wish, they're probably building Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and they put that technology in the ride. When they're planning Space 220 and Star Wars, was it Hyper? Someone tell me, the Star Wars Hotel and all that technology.
Star Wars.
Galactic Star Cruiser. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
They're putting that technology in the lounge. When if you've reading recently, I think it was Bob Chapek's idea with Harmonious. At least that's the way was told. The story is told that they were basically like, everyone loves Disney music. Let's do this mashup for Harmonious and Epcot. And now you're getting this kind of variety show with all these different, like you said, a jukebox. So I think it's funny to see some of the planning and the ideas melt in and bleed into the planning of the ship. And how there's some continuity between the parks and what's going on. Because I assume like something like the Star Wars lounge that'll be on the Wish can use that same technology that Space 220 has, that same screen, that same everything. And then the technology in the ride will also be some of that similar, the Mickey shorts and like that theme from. So anyway, I think it's great. I thought Aladdin was okay in the fantasy. I would imagine it's not going to be exact. And I'm all about, my kids sat through the last show on Beauty and the Beast. They loved it. They first show they ever sat through. And so, yeah, they liked it. So I'm pretty pumped for it.
Steve?
Hey, I'm all for a thin storyline to listen to Disney music. So I'm excited for the first one.
Storyline.
Yeah.
I am excited about the first one with Captain Minnie.
Seems so complex. How do you say it's thin? I mean, Goofy's gonna take over, and he needs courage, and this doesn't seem thin at all.
I know. And Captain Mickey will be up on the bridge, getting us out to sea. So while Minnie's down doing her debut in the
it's a
the
good
theater.
thing this is a family show.
It is. But you know what I was really excited about, and I got to give props to all three of you for reading this, because I did this morning and did it very quickly. So if you see them stumbling over their words or hear them stumbling, it's because of my writing, which is not necessarily the best. I was a biology major, not an English major. I will stand by that. But I like the fact
thank you for doing this.
No, I wasn't looking for that. What I'm excited about is when they were talking about the technology for the theater, is that it's going to be projections to transform a Walt Disney Theater into a 360-degree undersea environment. So while
don't you just think, I'm cutting you off. I'm so sorry. I'm not sorry, but I am cutting you off. With Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, the water that I have no words, but you go through, and it's like you're going under the water. It's not hard to do, right? It's immersive, and I love it. I'm here for it.
So I think that's what's going to be kind of cool, is to see the technology that this new theater is going to have to make you actually feel like you are under the sea watching this entire production. So I think that's going to be kind of cool to see how that works out. So rather than just feeling like you're in your seat watching something happen in front of you, it's going to be happening, I'm guessing, all around you, talking about the puppetry and some of the other different things that they're doing. So 2 thumbs up for me. And I'll be probably doing something else the night of Aladdin when we're on the Wish.
Poor Aladdin.
With Christy. I know. I'll be with Christy. We'll be like a trivia or something like that. I don't know. We'll see.
There's going to be too much to do anyway. We can't go to every show. Although I'm pretty sure that Chris's obligation, or Chris told us we had to go to every show. So he'll have to tell us what the rules are later.
Listen, all I'm saying is it's the first time that it's sailing, and I obviously want to see if they made the Aladdin better in some way. So I'm going to all the shows. I probably will skip Variety Acts, unless it's Marcus, friend of the show, or Buckets and Boards. But, it is a lot to do in one cruise. So, all right, Steve, take it. Or who's next on? Oh, this is Christy. Christy, tell us about discounts.
All right, so Disney Cruise Line has some discounts right now. It's actually 25 to 30% for non-Florida residents on select sailings for a limited time. So if you are a Florida resident, you can go up to 35% off right now. Select sailings out of Galveston and New Orleans aboard the Wonder are getting 30% off. There's 25% off on select sailings from Miami, San Diego, and Port Canaveral. Be aware with these restrictions that there are rules set in place. So most of the largest discounts are going to be a guaranteed stateroom with restrictions, which means you have to pay in full when you book it. You cannot change any names. You cannot put a hold on it. Totally paid in full. There's also, though, on some sailings with a discount, but not as high a discount, guaranteed rates. So that means Disney picks your cabin, and the guaranteed room with restrictions is going to be the same way. But Disney picks your cabin, but you can put it on hold for a day. And, there's some more options with that. but with the restrictions there, don't get a refund. I mean, unless somebody had COVID or something, but you want to go on this cruise, you're going to change nothing and you're booking. It's usually a more last minute booking as well.
So just be aware of those restrictions. Steve, you do a lot of Florida residency rates, right?
Yeah, that's probably been the primary way we've traveled.
And are they, and I guess, Chrissy, you could talk about this too, but those are kind of the same restrictions as well, right?
I've been able to pick my cabin at times. It depends. It really depends. The last sailing in October we booked it fairly close to the time in which we left. And it was, we booked with another family and they were both guaranteed and they linked us together. And we actually had the category above what we were guaranteed. So we had the larger of the veranda rooms, which was really nice. That extra little space in there is nice when you have 4 people in the room.
And I didn't add this in there, but for Canadian residents also, I think they've got savings up to 30% right now as well for our listeners up in Canada, north of the border. So look out for those. Lake says February 28th on the Magic is on this. So just saying, maybe some cool people want to join us. So if you're looking to work on your half marathon or marathon skills, you can join Lake on the February 28th Magic sailing, and you guys can take over deck 4 on your sea day and get your workout in.
How fun would that be? This is post Princess half marathon weekend. So if anybody's coming in for the half marathon and wants to then drive a little south and get on the Magic.
I like it. Yeah. So, there was a lot of different sailings. This wasn't just one sailing. It was quite a few sailings. Matter of fact, our spring break sailing that we moved our plans to in March is on that too. So, yeah.
It's also that particular cruise, and there's a lot of them, is 2 stops at Castaway with a Marvel Day at Sea as well. So that would be one that we would really love to go. And I can't get everybody out of school at the same time. My wife, it's tough.
First world problems, right?
Tough. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's just
responsibilities, life,
Exactly.
education for our children. Darn it.
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, Liz. Thanks for coming. You did miss most of it, but you'll catch it on the replay later.
All right, Chris, before you go, there was a Disney Wish sighting over Thanksgiving weekend. Could you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, there was a Disney Wish sighting. More importantly, there was a Captain Minnie sighting on the Disney Wish in New York City. So Disney debuted a float for the Disney Cruise Line in the Macy's Parade. It was the Disney Wish. I will say that if they're releasing 3 of these ships, they could just paint over the word Wish and have this float be good for the next 2 ships, because there's no, Rapunzel on the back of the ship or anything like that. So I think we may see this again. But this particular ship was also accompanied by an all-new song that was written for the Disney Wish and sung by Jordan Fisher. And for those of you who are fans of the Happily Ever After fireworks at the Magic Kingdom, Jordan Fisher is one of the lead singers for that fireworks show. It was a lot of fun to watch, to see. They had a bunch of Disney characters on the ship, and like I said, Captain Minnie was right up top doing her thing. So it was cool to see her out and about in New York City at the helm. Exactly.
Steve, did you get a chance to watch this as well?
I'm so bad. I didn't see it. I saw like a photo of it, and everybody I knew was like, "Did you?" Because they know I like, Disney Cruise Line. Did you see this? Let's do this. A lot of people that really didn't even know the Wish was, going to coming this summer, or not acutely aware. So I was like, and I still haven't watched the song. Is the song good? I like Happily Ever After, and Jordan Fisher is it?
The funny thing is, I did watch it, and what's going through my head right now is Happily Ever After. So that's more catchy. I literally think that they plan to utilize this song on the Wish in some ways. Like, it was written for the ship. So that's cool. The marketing people at Disney are really wanting to make the Wish a huge success.
Yeah. I wonder if they're pushing it even more because they know, I thought about this yesterday. Is like, are these? I'm wondering if restrictions and testing and stuff like that are going to go all the way to June. It's very possible. So I don't know. I don't see it going away anytime soon. But I was like, oh, they're trying to push a new ship in the midst of all this. It's probably tough, but at least initially, it'll probably be mostly at capacity, I would imagine.
Hello to Dennis. Dennis says he was tempted by a spring break cruise with that deal, and he said maybe a sail away song. What do you think, Chris? Is it a sail away type song?
All I can think in my head is happily ever after, so it might be.
I wouldn't be surprised on the inaugural or the cruise they do prior to going public if they had Jordan Fisher sing that kind of song on the show.
Sure.
Because they actually brought him. If you haven't seen the video, it's really cool when they bring him to the final showing of Happily Ever After. Have you guys seen that?
No.
They Disney Parks, I guess, filmed it or whatever was on one of their social media platforms where they're filming Jordan Fisher with his wife and family watch the last fireworks show at Magic Kingdom. It's pretty cool.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Just Google or YouTube Jordan Fisher Happily Ever After.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if you saw some names on the inaugural sailing.
Yeah, this particular ship, I will also point out, is going to have set sail before D23 Expo. And the first time we heard about the name of the Wish was at the last D23 Expo.
Here we go.
My thing is maybe in September when Seth and I go to the D23 Expo, we will be there in person when they announce whatever, the Disney Enchanted or the Disney, what are other Disney words? But when they announce the new ship, I think that could be pretty cool. So this summer is going to be packed for the cruise line with lots and lots of cool stuff happening.
Is anybody on the inaugural? Christy, are you?
Nope.
Okay. I think we know someone on the right. Isn't Brian?
We do, yeah. Brian and Sam from the DCL duo are on the inaugural.
Right.
So friends of the show, and they have a pretty cool podcast if you want to check it out.
And they had somebody who won one of the sweepstakes.
Well, we did. Shannon Ford did.
Yeah. Yes.
So, yeah. I mean, I guess she probably knows both, but she's been on our show several times. Super excited. We'll definitely get to hear back from her when she gets back. I think I already actually cleared it and set it up and said, I want the trip report when you get back. And she said, absolutely. And she has a YouTube channel and she will actually put some live content up during. She always does. So yeah.
You got to win, Christy. Come on. I actually started participating in that.
I mean, how do you not? You have to start from the beginning. I've made my husband. I think Chris has already decided he's going to be my fourth passenger if I win. Does this mean, Chris, that I get to be one of your passengers if you win?
Yeah, sure. we gotta speak that into existence.
Yes, when we win.
We manifest this.
Win.
So somebody asked, am I wearing Christmas lights? Yeah, these are my son's Christmas lights that he got at Disneyland when we were down there for the holidays, and he was wearing it on our Very Merry Time cruise. So
was it your son that asked the question? Because it says, are you wearing my Christmas lights?
Yes, it is.
I was going to bring up those Christmas lights. I wondered how we've made it 41 minutes without discussing.
Is that Alex? Which one of you?
It's Alex.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
That's why there's the Star Wars thing. All right, let's finish up with story number 7. I'll let you do this one, Steve.
Apparently merchandise is a little scarce for Disney's Very Merry Time cruise merch. So if you have a cruise planned, you may want to try to strategize and look for some things on the first day, see if anything is restocked. And as always, you will get your 10% if you're a Disney Visa holder. If you're also a Gold Castaway Club member, you will qualify for up to 10%. And that's automatic. When you go to check out, they automatically add that discount on. You don't have to show any proof or anything like that. So I guess maybe some supply chain issues, even though the ships aren't at full capacity, they're still having trouble keeping some of the merch stocked. Was anybody on you were on a Merry Time, Steve, right?
Yeah, there wasn't. I mean, I've heard this from the Halloween on the High Seas, and just recently, there a lot of stuff. There's just not a lot of stuff on board. They do have like pins and a couple of the Spirit jerseys and whatnot. But I think to Christy's point, I just wanted to throw it out there. Like if you're sailing anytime soon, Dennis says there wasn't much at all for a Very Merry Time crew, almost none. So To Christy's point, you talked about this just recently on a podcast, Christy, was to, if there's something you want, get down to the first day, buy it. And then what is it? You can always take it back, right, Christy?
Exactly. The entire length. I mean, you can't wear it and then take it back, but for the
Right.
entire cruise, you can buy something and return it. So that is what I typically do if there's something I want. And the couple of times I haven't purchased right away the thing I wanted, I was out of luck. So
Oh,
just
wow.
buy it and rethink about it.
Well, we got about 2 minutes left. Chris, any final thoughts before you get out of here? Maybe we'll touch on some Walt Disney World stuff before we finish up tonight.
No, I'm going to Disneyland for the holiday stuff next week. So Thursday and Friday, I'll be in the parks. Maybe I'll take over the Instagram channel for a bit.
Do it.
To be honest, my goal is like pretty much not attraction related. I think we just want to have like a chill couple of days because the real magic of Disneyland is in their like holiday entertainment, the parade, the fireworks show. This is the first parade back at Disneyland since the pandemic. So that'll be great. I'm super excited to see it. For those of you who aren't following along, there's major drama with Small World Holiday. The night before it was supposed to open, they flooded the set and it caused a total meltdown of the system that runs the ride. And now Small World Holiday is just indefinitely closed. It may not open at all this season,
Oh
and
my
Small World may
God.
not even open when it was supposed to next year. So there's a...
I thought it reopened again already. No?
Oh, well, I could be late on this, but last I checked, it was closed because we were like, we're going to ride it when we go. And then I couldn't even find it. So if it's reopened, great. But this is the thing that happens sometimes where they put all this energy into something and then just a simple little thing messes up. And so when the holidays reopened, there was no Small World Holiday and it was in all the promos too. So you would think you were going to get to go there and ride it. But someone look it up and tell me if it's still closed.
I just saw a tweet here that the flume is filled and they're cycling the boats at Small World.
Yay!
So maybe when I go next week, it'll be working again.
Well, I expect to see a report on the DCL podcast Instagram page.
All right, I'll be a roving reporter. Well, I have to head out, everyone, but it was so fun to hang out with you, and I'll let you take the rest of the show.
Take care, Chris.
Oh,
Wow.
you gotta say something.
Oh, wow.
Can
He was
you?
quick. He was out of
Wow.
here in no time. So
Yeah, there you go.
how's that?
That's better.
That got a little bit better.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't make my head go there.
That was that's the only ride we've ever gotten stuck on. We got stuck on Small World.
Ooh.
And then they had to evacuate us, which was super cool because I didn't realize that the flume is like above. So we were down below and we're walking underneath. Like it's just like a track that kind of goes through Small World. So the Disneyland one, I'm not
That's
sure. about Disney
cool.
World. Yeah, it was cool to see. So yeah, that's the Holly. I can't even talk. The holiday themed one is really cool out of Disneyland if nobody's ever done it.
I was going to say before Chris left, I need a guide when we go the day after Christmas.
Are you
So,
going to Disneyland this year?
Yeah, that's our. Hopefully, my kids don't listen to this, but I don't know why, unless I randomly have it on in the car. But yeah, that's their Christmas. Everybody's Christmas present this year.
That's exciting.
Yeah, we're going California Adventure and Disneyland and visiting a friend out in LA, and yeah, it should be. I'm fully expecting it to be crowded and maybe somewhat difficult for us to navigate, but I'm just.
You've made your park reservations, right?
Oh yeah, we already did.
Okay.
As soon
Because
as
I
bought-
had a client, a podcast listener actually,
Yeah.
who booked a couple weeks ago, and we had to like shift her days because she's like, I just need to get away, so I'm gonna go to Disneyland, and we had to finagle to get her park dates.
Yeah, there's nothing, right? There's like
Right.
they're out of it. Yeah, we're staying at the Fairfield
Oh,
in Marriott, like one of the friendly hotels,
Right.
good neighbor hotels, whatever you call them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as opposed to mean ones.
Yeah, we weren't really down with paying $590 a night for Disneyland hotel. It really was just
And
slightly out of budget. Yeah,
Right.
it's gotten
Right,
even more
right.
expensive since we booked. But yeah,
Chad Swindell said that being stuck on Small World would be his own personal nightmare.
on that
It's a
song on the
world
loop.
of laughter.
I'm really curious to see if Genie Plus is ever going to go live. It was supposed to be fall.
It's such a disaster at Walt Disney World that I'm not surprised. So people are, and this is just something to be aware of if you're coming, people will go in to book their ride, and it's not intuitive. It tells you to go to the stupidest attractions at the beginning. I would just suggest people listen to Disney Deciphered. Leslie and Joe cover Genie Plus really well. They have a couple of episodes on it. I think next week there's going to be another one possibly as an update. So I would just listen to them to get the ins and outs, or talk to your travel agent, obviously, at a later time. But
Have you paid for it yet?
I have not.
Okay.
But so I've been following, though, a lot. One of the things it's doing is you go to put in your time. Well, one thing is like at 9:40 at the Magic Kingdom, it's telling you to go to Swiss Family Treehouse. Why? Don't ever go to Swiss Family Treehouse at 9:40, people, unless your children really want to and you're okay with wasting good early park time on something that doesn't need to be in the morning. So obviously you go to important things in the morning. But so you go to pick your attraction and it'll say like 1:30 for whatever, Pirates. And then you click set, you click okay, you go to do 1:30, and then it shows up in your feed at 4:30. What?
Yeah.
But 1:30. We picked 1:30. And then another like Instagram friend today just reported that they had an attraction, they had a pass for something. I think it was Pirates. And it was just gone. It was gone. Like she had it in there. It was in her feed and it's just gone. And so they're just, Disney IT should get some of the people that work at Amazon to come and work for them or something.
Yeah. So we took my sister-in-law when she came in over Veterans Day weekend, and I treated it like she's an ex-college program Disney fanatic.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And so we paid for her park ticket as like just a gift and wanted to take her for the day. I took the day off. It was very, very last minute. And we just, sometimes when people are out of town, I sort of tell myself we treat it like a vacation day. So I kind of appreciate that, like, as opposed to being like, oh, I don't want to wait on that line for 20 minutes. We just go out. I did buy it at Hollywood Studios. We don't have to get into the weeds on this. I have a mixed opinion on it. I think it's going to be popular with a lot of people from out of town for sure. But for Hollywood Studios, we did get on Slinky Dog and skipped like 130-minute line.
Which is huge.
Right. And so we bought it from the road, literally driving there. And then everybody gets priority that's staying at a Disney resort. And a lot of the good stuff early on goes. So I managed to pull like Slinky Dog at like 11:30.
Wow, that's really good.
Yeah, I got 11:30. And then, but the trouble is, like, for what I paid, we basically got 2 attractions. We got Slinky Dog, and then by the time I was able to use Slinky Dog, is then you can, then like, and here's the other part of this. So you got to immediately as you check in at that ride, you're on your phone, not paying attention to anything, scrambling to get your next Genie Plus thing. And like the queue was so short to go through to Slinky Dog. I didn't even have time. I was like on the ride trying to get the next thing. And I got, I was able to pull Toy Story Mania, but like 2+ hours after we got off Slinky Dog. So it was like, wait on a line, got a beer at baseline. And then I also did Lightning Lane for Mickey and Minnie. That went down. And we had our time slot went from whatever it was, we were planning on leaving like around 5:36, and we didn't get on that ride till like almost 7. It was about an hour and a half delay. So anyway, I see the appeal to it. I really actually want it to go live for Disneyland because it's a place that we're not going to go very often. And I'd love to take advantage of it because I know it's going to be crowded, but it is very, very imperfect. And I think I don't think they're going to make it go live before the holidays. I can't see it happening out in Disneyland anytime soon. I think
it's just working so poorly. Who knows? Yeah. One other like merchandise comment I wanted to make. This guy's so funny, you guys. I was at Epcot today and they do those scavenger hunts over in Future World. Not Future World, the World Showcase. And this season for Festival of the Holidays, the scavenger hunt is Olaf. They didn't have the prizes, so they sold the prize map to people who were there the opening weekend of the Festival of the Holidays. Didn't have a prize for people. Well, apparently they still don't have a prize, but they are giving away something. I'm going to see if this shows up. It is random items that Disney found in a warehouse, basically. It's a 2021 lanyard, a Wally pin, a Moana pin, or a like rainbow patch. All maybe fine items of merchandise, not at all related to a World Showcase scavenger hunt.
We like those too. They're fun.
Oh, the scavenger hunts, love them.
Yeah, they're fun.
Love them. My son's like, well, we'll just get it and then I'll craft it because he's really into crafts right now. I'll craft it into something different. I'm like, no, we're not spending money on that. I mean, we can walk around and find the Olafs ourselves if we want and still just do it. We don't need to pay for the scavenger hunt, which we almost always do. We buy tons of extra maps because we usually like the prizes so much.
Mm-hmm.
Not
we did
this
the Easter
time.
one.
Just literally scrounged up stuff.
Yeah.
So, merchandising.
Yeah. I think my system's finally coming back. It was like totally buffering and crashing there for a little bit. Sorry about that. So I kind of checked out. We got a bunch more comments. Elizabeth says the Christmas Cars overlay is the best. You'll love it. Steve, Carsland is amazing at Christmas.
Yeah.
So great.
I'm probably most excited about that.
Yeah, Mater's, I know that, what is it, the Alien Swirling Saucers is not a huge hit at Walt Disney World necessarily, but Mater's Junkyard Jamboree is really cool, and they do a fun Christmas overlay too.
And it's the same ride system.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the same ride.
Then
we got a couple more. I'm currently agonizing with the Genie Plus decision for December 30th to January 1st. Am I cutting over you guys again?
No, you're good.
You're good.
Yeah, sorry. We're gonna have to finish this up because my system's just like totally crashing here. So last thing is Lake says we are doing Universal this weekend for the first time in a few years. Express Pass feels way easier. I'm guessing he and Katie will have a vlog up on that. So if you want to see their experience at Universal, make sure you go over to MouseGen and check them out over there. So I'm going to try and do this, but as we kind of finish up, Steve, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I'm actually really curious about the Universal experience because I guess if you stay at their deluxe hotel,
it's amazing.
Yeah, if you stay at their deluxe, you get the Express Pass
for 2 days.
I'll just say this: like everything that I hear about Universal, and I have not been in probably 20 to 25 years. Just my kids are a little young for Universal, I think 4 and 6. Is they actually value their pass holders and people that like want to stay on property. And I wonder what that feels like because man, Disney just hates us. I mean, it just
they don't hate us, but they don't care either.
What's the difference? When you're spending that much money, it feels like rejection, right? They just don't care about you. And that's a pretty wide consensus. So I'm very curious. And that's the way things change is where you spend your money. So
I thought of something I could tease you on, Steve.
Go for it.
Maybe we can get a GoFundMe page or perhaps a Patreon account, perhaps, to upgrade that internet a little bit so that we could actually stream from your house.
I don't know what it is. It's like whenever we use StreamYard on the weekends sometimes. Usually by this time at night it's pretty good, but I don't know if it's like the amount of people using the internet in our neighborhood or what. So yeah.
Okay, Grandma.
Exactly.
That is a theory of something my mother would say. Yeah, the people in the neighborhood are using up too much internet, so I can't get my show to work.
Those darn kids 2 blocks down streaming their Fortnite or whatever else they're playing. So, all right. Thanks you guys so much for doing this. It's always fun to talk with you each and every month as we kind of look back at some of the Disney Cruise Line news. All the best to everybody out there who's come and taken a listen to this, or if you're listening to it later on, once we put it up on the podcast feed, all the best to you and your families as we move into the holiday seasons. Enjoy the time you get to spend with each other and don't stress out too much. So we'll be bringing some more fun content with you between now and Christmas. And I guess I'll just leave it at that and say goodbye, everybody. And thanks for coming back and listening to us and following along at the DCL podcast.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
I'm dancing in advance, but
I know you're dancing in advance. And it's like, there it goes.
The DCL podcast is not affiliated with the Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney Company, Adventures by Disney, or Run Disney. All of the opinions expressed on our shows are those of the hosts and the guests who appear on the show. If you have any questions about any of these products, please contact the Walt Disney Company.